we're looking at the number of followers, we're looking at the number of hits that this person gets, rather than is this person highly regarded as a scholar? Because there's many who are da'is, yani they specialize in lectures, they specialize in speaking, they're orators. They're not necessarily, as I mentioned, that 99% of scholars don't necessarily go into this kind of area of research expertise. Majority either imams or as orators, where they will say khatibs, they will just speak.
Just to make it clear to the people listening, this is something that we've discussed, how we create the awareness so that we can help support the market to allow them to look into things a bit deeper, to allow them to understand Deen a little bit better. And it's just a bit of targheeb, in the sense of encouraging people to say, let me take that a little bit more serious, let me take it a little bit more deeper, let me work with the scholars, or ask the scholars who know this industry correctly. Or you ask the question, Sheikh Saab or Mufti Saab, is this your specialist area? If it's no, then finding someone that is got the specialist area. Because one of the points what we're trying to touch on here is we've had people who've used strategies in the past where you have a scholar's face, and people will assume that the scholar has looked at all of the T's and C's, all of the principles of that business, and they are the ones who are giving that. When you ask the scholar, and we've had those conversations, haven't we? A scholar will think, hold on, I want to take a photo with the guy. But the guy's gone away and taken a picture, and he's quote unquote marketed it as if the scholar has given the approval.
Yeah.
What, in your terms, what would be the things that me as the audience need to look out for, or questions that I need to ask?
I think we go back to those two groups, and just in that, as you were sort of concluding with that question, one is the people who are well intended but are just ignorant. Then we have that. So rather than you try to find a scholar of that nature, we're giving that ability to be able to. We're providing that service. That service is available. So you don't need to remain sort of ignorant of the fact. And if if you're unsure, that service is now available. Just as you posed your question, you touched upon that second group that I spoke of, which is the cynical group, which is maybe trying to take advantage of somebody, or trying to kind of bluff their way through this. And I said, and for them, halal is just a marketing tool. They just need to make sure that we've got to market this to the Muslim audience. How are we going to market this to the Muslim audience? So what they do is, and obviously, I have said many times in the past that, sometimes unfortunately ulama are treated like mushrooms. They're kept in the dark and they're fed, nonsense, for want of another phrase. Okay. And they're only dragged out when they need their thumbprint signing on a piece of paper, or when they need to sign a piece of paper. So they'll say, it's the usual where, it mentions in the Quran where certain verses, a religious group would place their hand over it and only show those verses which weren't seen as problematic, but those that were seen as problematic were covered. So same when the scholars brought out, only that's shown, and the scholar looks at that and he says, well, that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Would you sign to that? And obviously he's going to say, yeah, of course I'll sign to that. So he signs to that. And now you've got a signature of the scholar. And now how you posit that out to the wider public is, we have been approved by Mufti Fala. And I guess the bigger following this person has, the more approval ratings he has, which is now unfortunately not necessarily measured by his expertise, but it's more now social media now, isn't it, unfortunately? So we're looking at the number of followers, we're looking at the number of hits that this person gets, rather than is this person highly regarded as a scholar? Because there's many who are da'is, yani they specialize in lectures, they specialize in speaking, they're orators. They're not necessarily, as I mentioned, that 99% of scholars don't necessarily go into this kind of area of research expertise. Majority either imams or as orators, where they will say khatibs, they will just speak. And because they have a way of speaking, they are there to encourage people and discourage people from doing wrong. And that person is signing something off. So who's to say that person is an expert in this area? So, and it's just this one piece of document. Does this mean that this scholar has actually checked everything within this organization? Probably not. It's just that one piece of paper. So that is the unfortunate thing that we have. And I think that's also And for my own fraternity and my own colleagues, that's for our colleagues to say, my colleagues to also say that, hold on a second here, I'm not signing myself off to anything until I literally see that, my signature is not used in the wrong way. And what is it exactly that you're doing here? And show me everything that needs to be shown. And that, I think, makes a big difference.